This event is made possible by the generosity of the following sponsors.
Hello everyone, my name is Wes Warnett and I am the chairman of CAPS. And on behalf of the CAPS board, I would like to thank you for joining us for the 2020 Naperville Police CAPS Awards ceremony, for the first time in this virtual format. I'm delighted to be here and have this wonderful opportunity to honor some first responders who truly went above and beyond the call of duty. I believe you will find their stories inspiring. For those of you who are new to CAPS, let me tell you a little bit about us. Citizens Appreciate Public Safety, CAPS, is a Naperville community group that recognizes fire and police department personnel for the contributions to the city. Each year, Naperville residents are asked to nominate public safety employees who have displayed an interest in Naperville citizens in a manner above and beyond the call of duty, and exhibited a genuine concern for the welfare and well-being of all Naperville citizens. We have two annual events, one in the fall where we recognize personnel in the fire department, and one in the spring where we recognize individuals in the police department. With the COVID-19 pandemic, our spring event had to be postponed. But as time went on, we didn't want to wait any longer to recognize the members of the Naperville Police Department who have served our community so well. So here we are. To get our program started, Shanza Khan from the Cadets Troop of the Islamic Center of Naperville will now share with us the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Shanza. Well done. I would like to take a moment to thank a few people who made this event possible. First, I would like to thank Jill Bridges and Kelly Munch for their hard work, attention to detail, and diligence in helping us put this program together. Thank you to both our chiefs for their leadership. And to the police officers we are honoring this year for their dedication to the citizens of Naperville. I'd like to again thank all our sponsors for their generous support. Also Jim Hoke Photography and NCTV 17 for providing the photos and video of today's event. Let me also take a moment to introduce to you the CAPS board. They are Mike Bratzos, Jill Bridges, Ron Davison, Paul Hinterlong, Ron Hume, Ashley Kilkel, John Noblick, Chief Marshal, Peter Pioli, Chief Pucknitis, Tom Ross, and Ruthie Summers. Early this year, we had two longstanding members of the board retire. David Wentz was on the board for 9 years and served as chairman for 3 years. Lisa Murtaugh-Ganji was a member of the board for 5 years and served on the executive committee as secretary for 4 years. They both made significant contributions of leadership, time, and energy to the CAPS organization, and we appreciate their service and wish them all the best as they continue to serve the community in other ways. We have two new members of the board this year. Please join me in welcoming Shafiq Abu-Baker and Matthew Smith. We are excited to have them both with us. Naperville's internationally accredited police department employs a staff of approximately 270 people who span many roles, from the sworn positions of chief, deputy chief, commander, sergeant, and officer, to the civilian positions of social worker, community service officer, dispatcher, animal control officer, and records specialist, among others. The NPD can bring many skills to bear on any situation that may arise in Naperville. No matter what their role, every new member of the NPD is dedicated to a mission of providing extraordinary service to the community while protecting life and property. And, as it says on the side of their vehicles, they are committed to integrity, service, and professionalism. This year's CAPS Award recipients are excellent examples of officers who are living the mission and upholding the values of the department. They have earned the public trust and gone above and beyond the call of duty to exhibit a genuine concern for the welfare and well-being of all Naperville citizens. And so we begin. At this time, I would like to introduce Shafiq Abu-Baker, who will present our first CAPS Award.
Thank you, Wes. In July 2019, a group of teenagers approached a small lemonade stand and stole the $12 the young girls operating it had raised that day for charity. When she heard about this, Commander Sherry Main, who was Sergeant Main at that time, quickly leapt into action, determined to give a bad experience a positive ending for the young girls. Knowing that the victims refused to give up and planned to sell lemonade again that same weekend, Commander Main solicited donations from her shift and other NPD employees who wanted to contribute. She then organized a parade of police cars to pull up at the lemonade stand to surprise the girls and hand over their donation. That day, Commander Main's kindness, generosity, and leadership raised $170 to support the girls' lemonade stand and their chosen charity. And she raised our spirits as a community. The story generated local, regional, and national media coverage and quickly became the feel-good story of the summer. For her dedication to doing the right thing and proving to our youth that evil doesn't triumph, I am honored to recognize Commander Main with a Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Award. Congratulations, Sherry. It is now my pleasure to introduce Tom Ross, who will present our next award.
Thank you, Shafiq. On November 23, 2019, Naperville police officers were dispatched to the intersection of Washington Street and Osler Drive for a report of a vehicle that had struck a house and started on fire. Officer Scott Donofrio was the first to arrive at the scene and located the car, which had left the roadway, driven through a fence, and struck a home. The back half of the vehicle was engulfed in flames, with fuel leaking onto the ground from a ruptured fuel tank. The driver, who had suffered an unknown medical event, was unconscious inside the burning car. Quickly recognizing the need for immediate action, Officer Donofrio risked significant injury, and perhaps even his life, to break a window, unlock the driver's door, reach inside the burning car to remove the driver's seatbelt, and drag the man to safety. Because of Officer Donofrio's quick response and extraordinary courage, the driver was rescued from almost certain death. I am honored on behalf of the CAPS Board to congratulate Officer Scott Donofrio on being chosen to receive a Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Award. Congratulations again to Scott. It is now my pleasure to introduce Paul Hinterlong, who will present our next award.
Thank you, Tom. Our next award recipients are true heroes who risked their own lives to rescue 3 residents, one of whom was bedridden, from a burning home. On December 1st, 2019, officers Dawn Fletcher, Mike Wazalewski, and Robert Shostek were dispatched to a residence on the city's north side to assist the fire department with a structure fire. As the first to arrive at the scene, the officers found heavy smoke coming from inside the house. They entered the residence despite the immediate danger and found 3 residents still inside. Officers Fletcher, Wazalewski, and Shostek directed a young man from the residence, escorted an elderly woman through the furniture and smoke to safety, and physically carried an elderly man who could not speak and was incapacitated due to a stroke out of the house using a bedsheet. Because of the officer's swift response to the scene and heroic assistance inside the burning building, all 3 of the residents got out of the home without injury. This incident is a great example of the selfless service these and other Naperville officers perform every day, and I could not be more honored to recognize officers Dawn Fletcher, Mike Wazalewski, and Robert Shostek with a Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Award. Congratulations, Dawn, Mike, and Robert. It is now my pleasure to introduce Matthew Smith, who will present our next award.
Thank you, Paul. In April of 2019, a concerned parent called police requesting a well-being check on her daughter who had struggled with alcohol abuse in the past, had recently gone through a breakup, was not answering calls, and had sent a concerning text to her mother. Officer Jason Woods, Officer Marco Scalzetti, and Sergeant Greg Schubrick arrived at the woman's apartment to find the lights and television on, but no answer at the door. Recognizing the signs of a possible suicide attempt and concerned for the woman's safety, the 3 continued to investigate the area until they came upon what sounded like a running vehicle inside a closed garage. An unlocked window was located, and the officers were met with the suffocating odor of the vehicle's emission. The woman was unconscious in the running vehicle. Without pause, they removed the woman from her vehicle and took her outside, where she regained consciousness. She survived the incident and was transported to the hospital for treatment. Because of their quick response, intelligence gathering, and life-saving actions, the CAPS Board is pleased to recognize Sergeant Greg Schubrick and Officers Jason Woods and Marco Scalzetti with a Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Award. Congratulations to Greg, Jason, and Marco. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ron Hume, who will present our next award.
Thank you, Matt. Our next award recipient is Detective Erin Gibler. Detective Gibler's efforts investigating a case of alleged child sexual abuse, working closely with the investigations unit of the Naperville Police Department, successfully identified the perpetrator of this abuse. Additionally, Detective Gibler's extensive efforts led to the discovery of more victims and ultimately the arrest of a juvenile sexual predator. In December 2019, the Naperville Police Department began investigating the sexual abuse of a teenage victim. The suspect had met the victim on an app and abused her multiple times in a Naperville motel. Detective Gibler led a team of patrol and investigations personnel, successfully identified, built a case against, and arrested the 27-year-old offender. During the investigation, Detective Gibler's team identified and located a second unrelated minor who was also victimized by the same offender. They built a case and secured additional felony charges against this individual. A few weeks later, the same suspect was then identified by another police department as the offender in a similar case in their community, adding additional charges against the man. Detective Gibler's perseverance and steadfast determination to thoroughly investigate every lead led to justice for not one, but 3 underage victims. It's said that it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to protect our children. Erin Gibler enlisted the assistance of a village, including the school, patrol officers, investigators, the Child Advocacy Center, the State's Attorney's Office, and others to protect these children, and ultimately to protect many more potential child victims had this offender not been identified and charged. I'm extremely honored to present Detective Erin Gibler with the 2020 Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Award. Thank you, Erin, for your tireless efforts to protect our community. Congratulations, Erin. Now back to our CAPS Chairman, Wes Warnett.
Thank you, Ron. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Blades, who will present the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners Award.
Thank you, Wes. Hello, I'm David Blades, Chairman of the Naperville Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, along with Commissioners Kirsten Young, Kim Widdop, Ron Davidson, and Mark Wright. We have the privilege of hiring the Naperville police officers and firefighter paramedics for our great city, which total just under 400 members. We're also responsible for the promotional process of police sergeants, and we conduct disciplinary hearings or appeals of disciplinary action taken in the department. The board is established through the Illinois state statutes, the Illinois Municipal Code, and the Naperville Municipal Code. And the commissioners are appointed by the mayor with the approval of the city council. Our hiring process involves conducting a written test, oral interviews, a very thorough background investigation, a polygraph, a psychological exam, and a medical. The police department will be conducting the written exam for new police officer candidates next month, in which we have 851 police applicants. While most departments across the country have seen substantial decreases in their applicant numbers, Naperville is seeing substantial increases in theirs. This very clearly speaks to the reputation of Naperville and that of which Chief Marshal and the Naperville Police Department has built. 851 applicants. That gives us the luxury of being able to hire only the best of the best. Words that this city has become accustomed to in so many ways, which you, as its citizens, have contributed to. Once we hire these best of the best, there are some that rise to the top within the department. And as a board, we like to acknowledge them with our Commissioner's Police Officer of the Year Award. It is with great pleasure that we announce our 2020 Commissioner's Police Officer of the Year Award goes to Sergeant William Barrett, a 17-year veteran of the police department. The initial training a new officer receives at the police department is the most formative of their career. This training is referred to as Field Officers Training, or FTO, and is performed by one of the department's 16 certified FTOs. A new officer spends around 800 hours with an FTO where they learn things like the department's rules, regulations, policies, and procedures, but they also learn how to conduct themselves when dealing with the citizens of Naperville. This training sets the foundation. It sets the tone for how the officer is going to conduct themselves for the next 25 to 30 years. So it's a big deal. The Naperville Police Department's FTO program was a good one. But while most see things and think if it's not broke, don't fix it, Sergeant Barrett looks at something and thinks if it's not broke, break it and make it better, which is exactly what he did with the department's FTO program when he completely revamped and greatly improved it. And remember, this is the program that sets the foundation for the entire career of every new Naperville police officer. Additionally, once an officer completes their FTO program, they join many other officers on a shift. Sergeants are the frontline supervisors of those shifts, so they must have excellent leadership skills. Sergeant Barrett also revamped and greatly improved the training manual for all the sergeants. As commissioners, we have learned the Naperville Police Department never settles. They are constantly striving to be the best that they can be. Chief Marshall was instrumental in enhancing the department's ongoing in-service training program for all the officers. Such ongoing training has never been more important than it is today. And guess who helped plan that in-service training? Sergeant Barrett. Hey, way to put your master's degree in organizational leadership to work, Sergeant. Sergeant Barrett performed several other tasks for the department, one of which is being a team leader on the department's Special Response Team, or SRT, which is similar to SWAT. A couple of things stood out to me when speaking with Sergeant Barrett recently. When I told him about his award, the first thing he said was, huge team effort, starting with administrative support. The heavy lifting is done by the FTOs, he said, and their sergeants. He made it very clear to me that he feels his award was due to the hard work of many others. I also respected how he talked about his family, saying how much he appreciates the support of his wife, Michelle, and what his 6-year-old son, Connor, and 4-year-old daughter, Cora, mean to him. So when I called to inform Sergeant Barrett of his award, he thanked us as a board. But the more I thought about that, it is us, as the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, that owe Sergeant Barrett a thank you. Because when we are spending hours going through a candidate's file trying to decide if they are worthy of becoming a Naperville police officer, we can now think of Sergeant Barrett and be reminded of who we are trying to hire. So, Sergeant William Barrett, congratulations, sir, on receiving our Commissioner's Officer of the Year Award, and thank you.
Thank you, David, and congratulations to Sergeant Barrett. Well deserved. This brings us to our highest award to be given this year. The Pradel Award is bestowed upon a police department employee whose performance epitomizes the heart and spirit of a public servant. A recipient of the Pradel Award is one who goes above and beyond the call of duty in the delivery of service to the community. Much like the award's namesake, the late retired police lieutenant and Mayor A. George Pradel did as an officer and a public servant. Having served on the police force for over 29 years, George pioneered the concept of community-based policing prior to the practice becoming popular in law enforcement. He contributed in ways both big and small, creating crime prevention programs, teaching school bus drivers the value of safety, and showing up at birthday parties for many children and seniors. Because of his generosity of time and passion for the community, George was known to many generations of Naperville residents as officer-friendly. As you have heard, there are many deserving individuals whose actions, commitment to the job, and service to our community have surpassed the sworn duties of a law enforcement officer. While not given every year, today we present the Pradel Award to an officer with a strong track record of exceptional service to our community during his 22-year career in Naperville. A consummate team player whose dedication to service shows through his willingness to take any assignment or call and give his absolute all. He is a model of both courage and compassion, having been commended for both acts of bravery and acts of kindness. As a staple of our downtown, he has built relationships and collaborated with business owners and residents to problem solve and make our community a better place to live, work, and play. Congratulations to this year's Pradel Award winner, Officer Scott Donofrio.
I'd like to say thank you to the CAPS Board for recognizing me for this honor. It means a lot to me and my fellow co-workers to be recognized for our hard work over the years. I also want to thank Chief Marshall and his management staff for their outstanding leadership, dedication, hard work, and support. I'm grateful for the opportunities afforded to me throughout my career. I'd also like to thank and recognize all my co-workers. They all work hard and care about each other like family. I know each and every one of them would have done the same thing I did in that situation. I'm so thankful that I work in such a great city that has a community who truly cares about each other and the city they live and work in. Most of all, I'd like to thank my family for their unwavering support that they have given me through the years. Thank you.
Well said, and congratulations, Officer Donofrio, on this great honor. Your outstanding work over the course of your 22-year career, most recently in our downtown, makes you very worthy of this award. Now, on behalf of the entire Naperville Police Department, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Board. It is no secret that 2020 has been a difficult year for our police officers. In my 35 years in law enforcement, I've never encountered one quite like it. But the support we have at the Naperville Police Department and have seen from our community has been both rewarding and invigorating. Every thank you, every card, every meal dropped off at the police department have been appreciated. The commitment of the CAPS Board to hold this event and recognize our police officers, even if it had to be done virtually, is much appreciated. I can tell you that our staff doesn't go to work every day looking to do something worthy of recognition. They go to work every day because they are service-oriented and committed to making our community the safest and the best it can be. Their commitment, service, and sacrifice make me proud every day to lead the Naperville Police Department. Likewise, the thank yous and the recognition we receive from the residents of Naperville, like the Citizens Appreciate Public Safety Board, will continue to energize our department as we perform our mission of providing extraordinary service to the city of Naperville's citizens. On behalf of the Naperville Police Department, thank you for your continued support.
I hope all of you enjoyed our virtual program and were able to see firsthand the heroic activities that members of the police department perform on a day-to-day basis, often under the radar. As one of the people who review the CAPS nominees each year, trust me when I say there are many more stories that would make us all stand a little taller if you heard them. As a 23-year resident of Naperville, a town which receives a lot of praise, when you think about what makes a community great, public safety is foundational. We truly have the best police department there is. I appreciate all they do each day. On behalf of the entire CAPS Board, I thank everyone who contributed their time to make this presentation possible, the support of our generous sponsors, and certainly all of the public safety personnel who support the City of Naperville. I would like to remind you of our next event, the CAPS Fire Department Award ceremony that will hopefully be held in October. I thank all of you for joining us. Have a great day and be safe.